Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Torno1500 and this is the first computer I've ever owned. I technically didn't own it. My dad did. It was a hand-me-down from my grandmother on my mom's side. It was first used as a family computer, where my dad put it in the kitchen, and me and him both used it because he had a pretty crappy laptop at the time and I didn't have a computer at all. This computer is a pretty good computer for 2008 standards. It has a Core 2 Quad Q8200, ATI Radeon HD 4650, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and 1 terabyte Hitachi hard drive, and 160 gig Seagate hard drive that I added for dual booting sake. So we got handed this down in 2019, and it was still a pretty powerful computer then for what we were doing with it. And my dad set it up in the kitchen, and in 2021, he didn't use it anymore. He just gave it completely to me for my purposes. By that time, I had a pretty good computer. It was around November of 2021. So this is the computer I had at the time of completely owning this. This I bought in April of 2021, and I actually did a video of it way back. Prepare to cringe if you watch it. Anyway, hope you don't watch it, but watch it anyway, I guess, if you want to. Now this is a pretty good computer, but unfortunately the Ryzen 3 was less powerful than a Core i5 7200U from 2016, which I use now. This wasn't keeping up with Windows standards. It might work with macOS if it could run it with nuded red, the nuded red kext on Hackintosh, but the computer I use now is an HP, and it's currently transferring files from a hard drive, so I'm not going to take that down or anything right now to show you guys, but this was the computer that I was using for 2019 up until I got my own laptop in October of 2020. Okay, so in October of 2020 I got my own laptop, and it was a piece of crap. It had an AMD E2 processor, 6 gigabytes of RAM, and a terabyte of storage. And if you want any more details on it, you can watch the other video where I talked about this. I also talked a little bit about that. Not going to go into that depth with it, but it was a piece of crap, and I could barely video edit on it, so I then started using this thing for a little bit for video editing tasks up until I got this one. That I started using this for video editing. Now around that time, my dad also got a new computer, and he stopped using this completely, so it was all mine. He just said, "Here, take it," and I started using it, and I just started looking into the option of Hackintoshing it, since it had an Intel processor, ATI Radeon graphics that should be compatible with macOS with a few modifications. Not natively, but it should work. And then I did it. In around 2022, February, I have a few images of it up first. And I got High Sierra running on this thing. Later tried upgrading it to Catalina, which went horribly. I added a few kexts that should make it work with SSE 4.1 compatible processors, because the processor in this Core 2 Quad 8200, Q8200, doesn't have SSE 4.2, so power management was screwed up, which I don't really care about, but the GPU, I couldn't mod it in macOS because the Catalina locked that down, and it gave me an error booting up with system integrity protection off. So today I'm going to try installing macOS Mojave on it. Now this is the USB with the macOS Mojave installer on my EFI. A funny thing is, when I tried putting Windows 7 on this, I accidentally erased the EFI on the hard drive and on the USB stick because I was using it for other things, and it didn't go too well. So I had to, so I just let it be until I could find the EFI again using a sketchy program, trying to fish it out with an APFS patch for Windows 7, and I did it. Now I'm gonna have to, for one thing, I'm gonna try getting everything off of the hard drive before I wipe it to install Mojave. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do first. Okay, so this is where I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put this back on, the back plate back on, because this computer, I needed to switch out the GPU. I was using a GT635, which is right here in it, because I thought it was going to be better compatibility with macOS, but I couldn't get graphics acceleration to work on it at all, which might be because I was either too lazy to do the frame buffers, or it just plain out wasn't compatible. Later found a compatibility sheet that proved my theory right about the incompatibility, but it should have worked. It was a Kepler card, and it should have worked. Anyway, I'm going to throw that aside. I don't know where the screws are. I'll look for it at a later date. Okay, so this computer was also used in the Windows 8.1 video, and I installed Windows 8.1 on it with this graphics card still in it, because it was a bit faster than the ATI Radeon 4650. But I've now put the AMD Radeon 4650 back in there, and we're going to install macOS with that. Okay, so this, the whole graphics situation on here is not great, because it doesn't have any GPU drivers for the 4650. I was using Windows 7 with a GT635 in it, so and I also found out that the APFS patch I was using was a trial, and that trial is expired. So I don't know if the Catalina partition is corrupted or not. I'm going to try right now to try and boot into it and get my files off of there and put it on the NTFS drive, but anyway, that's the state of the Windows 7 install. Okay, so I need to go down to the oh wait, crap, I don't have the USB stick in the computer yet. I have it on my desk. Anyway, I'm going to fire it up and try to boot it to the USB stick with the Mojave installer. There it is. So from here, we should be able to boot into the Catalina partition. And while it's doing its thing, I'm just going to show you guys my ingenious SD card not losing mechanism. So I made a little bubble of tape on my desk where I just put SD cards in it, and I don't lose them. Also, this is the hard drive that it's restoring my macOS partition from. I'm using this one as a and it didn't work, so that means the drive is corrupted. Okay, so I tried booting, for context, I booted this up into the Mojave installer before I started filming, and it worked. So the partition is definitely corrupted, and I'm just gonna start installing Mojave. After an eternity, aka 16 damn minutes, because I don't know, my USB drive is slow or something, or the bus is slow, I don't know. Anyway, we finally got macOS Mojave's installer booted, and this is the they have a few extra things up here because of course they do, and this is a DOS2 patcher. I couldn't really downloaded on my computer with the system settings, it kept deleting itself and taking up more and more storage. So we're just going to go into disk utility and do a little magic. Show all devices. Where's the hard drives? Oh no, where are the hard drives? Oh no. Okay, so I think I found my issue. The onboard SATA mode is in RAID, and I need to put it in AHCI. So, I don't know how that happened. I was running Hackintosh on this before, and I had to do this before. I thought I needed some special text, but no, I didn't. It was just me being stupid a long time ago for some reason. I don't know. Anyway, it's in AHCI now, and we'll just press save and exit setup. And before we do that, I'm going to plug my USB drive back in because I thought I'd have to modify it in Linux. And, okay. So I was able to grab my dinner, take my sheets out of the dryer, put my clothes into the dryer, and it's still not booted. And now that it's gone through the 20 minutes of hell, and we have enabled AHCI before it went to hell, we should be able to see all our disks. Show all devices, and the Windows XP is the one in the disk tray. I might burn Windows XP to it. I haven't even burned anything to it, but anyway. This is our Catalina HD. So what I'm going to do is take random shit here. We are going to erase random shit and name it Mojave HD. And that's going to take up about half the drive. We're just going to keep it a macOS Extended Turtle because it'll convert automatically when we go into the install process. Take another bite of my dinner. It's done. Press done. Exit out of disk utility. Go into macOS. Continue. Continue. Agree. Mojave HD. And that should do its thing. And now, the computer is up and running at the macOS Mojave setup screen. Unfortunately, graphics acceleration isn't enabled yet because we need to still need to do a little bit of patching, but don't transfer any information now. It'll take hours, and I don't really want to spend hours on this. Express setup, customize settings, enable location services on this Mac. We do not want analytics. and dark mode. Because if you're a psychopath, you use light mode. If you're not, you use dark mode. Okay, so this is currently setting it up. And no GPU acceleration. Now first what we need to do is turn magnification on. You can see how slow and laggy that is. Turn hiding on. Wait, I don't want hiding yet, because I'm going to be using the taskbar. Come on. Anyway, let's go to about this Mac. macOS Mojave, and display 5 megabytes. Now we will need to solve this, if it isn't clear enough. Anyway, I'm going to turn hiding off, and I'll come back and set this up completely. So quick update, I still don't have graphics acceleration, but I did run the post-install patch in the DOS Dude patcher, which came in a clutch, and our graphics card has been upgraded to ATI Radeon HD 550V 5 megabytes. But this is not an ATI Radeon HD 550V 5 megabytes. But I do have the Kext ready to install, and I think I'll have some progress then. And since we have USB tethering Kext horn disk in the EFI folder, I am able to connect my Pixel 2 XL with no problem. Now let's test out iMessage first, because yeah. Okay, so it seems iMessage isn't working, and it just decided to throw me at the screen. But I have a theory of why this isn't working. Every Hackintosh that I had Ethernet on, it worked out of the box, but this one doesn't have functional Ethernet for some reason. Let me look in system report for a sec, and hold on. Ethernet cards. This doesn't have any PCI Ethernet cards available. Yeah, it doesn't have any Ethernet available. So what I'm going to do is put the USB that I'm using to boot off of it into my current Mac and Hackintosh, and I'm going to put a dummy Ethernet text in. So that should work. Alright, so iMessage still doesn't work, and if I'm going to be honest, I don't really care about iMessage, because I have an iPhone and another Hackintosh that iMessage works on, so yeah, anyway, let's run Geekbench 5, and let's see what the score is on Geekbench. Okay, so the computer couldn't show the results because it was offline, because my Pixel 2 XL decided to disconnect USB tethering when I rebooted. So gonna try it again with it on, and let's see what it does. Now this is the Geekbench score for the what do you call it? The Core 2 Quad Q8200 in the machine, and it's abysmal. I mean, this is worse than the 800 multi-core score from my old laptop that I was used to be using. And this is the one that I'm currently using, and it's a lot better. 769 single-core score and 1767 multi-core. And this is 2 cores. That is 4. So that's the difference that almost 10 years apart can make. Because this had a processor from late 2016, early 2017. This is a processor from, I think, 2008. 429 multi-core score, so that is abysmal. It got obliterated by that. Okay, so I got Creative Cloud installed and I'm signed into my school account that I get for free. So I don't have to pay for Premiere and everything for as long as I'm in Comtech class. And almost everything is incompatible. And when you click the non-compatible, macOS 11.0 or later, SSE 4.2 or later. And for some reason, 2021 is still supported, so I'm gonna install 2021. If it needs 4.2 emulation, I could do that with what do you call it? With a text and anyway, yeah, I'll wait for that to install, and then I'll install Final Cut Pro because Premiere is unsupported. Final Cut Pro, I can get an older version off the internet, and that'll work just fine. Okay, it's the day after, and I've got everything installed on the computer. There is one problem though. So if we go into about this Mac, wait for it to load. Very anticlimactic. System report. Audio. There's no devices. I'm gonna spend a little bit of time trying to solve this, but we'll see if I can solve it. But if I can't, I'll just use a speaker I have. And one old iHome speaker later, we got audio. Now, I want to disassemble this computer and show it a little love, cleaning it, taking the dust out, changing the thermal paste. But there is one small issue with that. It is Monday, May 22nd. And now for you Americans who do not know what that is, or I don't know if you guys have it in the States, but anyway, it is Victoria Day, and I live in Canada. Why is that a day? I don't know. But that means most computer stores are closed. I'm out of thermal paste, and this Deep Cool Z10 Performance thermal paste is available at Canada Computers. It's sold out in Kingston, unfortunately. But if it wasn't, it is closed. Victoria Day hours. Now, I could go to Best Buy, but their thermal paste, the only one they have available in stock, is unavailable for store pickup. And again, for those of you who live in the States, Canada Computers is basically the Micro Center of Canada, because we don't have Micro Center, unfortunately. But what I can do today is go down to the Dollarama and buy a can of compressed air. Alright, that should work. It cost me a mini fortune. It cost me $5. I was only expecting to pay about $3. Alright, so this is the inside of the computer, and I did a bit of B-roll, but the last time I cleaned this thing was like, I'm pretty sure it was like last year in August, and I think it's due for another cleaning because this is just dusty dirty. Like, yeah, that's how much dust got on my hand from doing that. So yeah, I'm just gonna take it apart and then clean it. Okay, so I just took the motherboard out, and I'm gonna close the window because the baby's crying outside. It's the neighbors. Anyway, that's how dusty it is in the CPU fan. So we're just gonna wait. I should be doing this outside. Okay, so I'm on my back porch with the door open. Close that. Anyway, let's do that now. Okay, so the CPU fan is less dusty. It still has dust on the sides, but I'll have to get that with like a cloth or something else. But anyway, yeah, most of the dust is gone, and I'm glad I did this outside because my room would be full of dust. And yeah. Okay, so I'm not gonna put the motherboard back in yet. I'm gonna clean the rest of the case, and I'm gonna put it back in. Okay, so I got the whole computer completely disassembled. I cleaned it a little bit. The only thing I really need to clean is the power supply, and there, everything's clean, and I'm going to, well, the discs aren't cleaning. I'll clean this before it goes back in the system. But other than that, it's all good to go, and I can reassemble the entire thing. And just like that, everything is cable managed, and everything is in the machine ready to go. The front panel I/O wasn't working. Well, ever since I disassembled it for the first time, the front panel USB wasn't working, but I just found out I had the wrong port. So, yeah, it works now. I already tested it. So, let's boot into macOS. So would I recommend buying a Core 2 quad machine with similar specs? No, just no. It is the worst machine you could probably buy for its price point. It's like, you buy a similar machine for like $100, $150. I saw on eBay last, and it's not a very good machine for that price. Like, if you have one laying around, you could throw like an SSD in there and then proceed to just like Hackintosh it, and you'll have a pretty good video editing machine if you're only editing 720p 30 or 720p 60. I wouldn't recommend buying one purely to video edit on. It's slow, and it overheats to the point where it gets to about 115 degrees Celsius on a Premiere Pro export. And I know that because I measured the heat when I was editing the Windows 8 video and exporting it. It's probably a fire risk, and it's not very good. The power supply cable is loose, and that's also a fire hazard. You could also accidentally pull it out and shut down your entire system, lose all your work. And there's a lot of other machines you could buy at a similar price point. You could probably buy something like a 2012 MacBook Pro for as much as you can buy that, or like a MacBook Air, like a 13-inch MacBook Air from like 2015. You could probably buy for around $150, and it'll be like much better than what you will get with a Core 2 quad machine. And video editing, you'll get a lot farther with it. I mean, if you were to pick this thing up for around $70 and throw a couple 1 or 2 terabyte hard drives in there, you could probably make it into like a good home server. And I might do that in the future. But if you can find one, a Dell Optiplex Tower is a much better deal with that, and you could and it'll last you a lot longer and probably be much faster as well. If you have one laying around the house and you just want to get some use out of it, like get it going again, use it for something like gaming or something, what I'd recommend is buying like a 240 gig 8-bit SSD. They're usually like $20 if you can find them online. I found a 240 gig 8-bit SSD at Canada Computers, and I've been using it in my laptop Hackintosh, and it's been working pretty well for that. Don't really rely on reliability. I have a backup kept of everything, so it's fine. You could use the 1 terabyte hard drive in there as like a game drive, and upgrade to something like maybe like a GTX 780 or a 1080 Ti or something you can find like cheap for like $150. I wouldn't sink too much money into it, but you could reuse the graphics card if you get like a higher end rig or something. But like a new graphics card is definitely a must if you want to do some gaming. 240 gig SSD will increase the speed in anything, but if you want to run macOS on it, it's a must if you're going to go past Big Sur, because everything Big Sur and later an SSD will be much faster for you, and especially if you're upgrading a laptop from a hard drive to an SSD. The laptop hard drives tend to be very slow, and I wouldn't recommend running a game off of that, but you're not going to find a laptop hard drive in one of these. This could be 7200 RPM or something like that. But new graphics card and SSD are some upgrades you can do to it, and it'll work pretty well. Now, another thing you could do to it is upgrade it to 16 gigabytes of RAM. My computer came with 8. It's 4 2GB DIMMs. You could upgrade it to 16 gigabytes of RAM with 4 gig DIMMs, and that might work for you. I know the old MacBooks had a maximum of 8, but that could be upgraded to 16. But Apple didn't disclose that. I don't know if it's the same for this. The maximum on the spec website says it's 8 gigabytes, but apparently you can upgrade some systems to 16 if you want to. I haven't sunk any money into doing that because I don't want to sink any money into something that isn't guaranteed to work, and I'm not really using it as a main machine, so it's not really something I want to sink my money into. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!